Well, it's still good morning. Good morning
Yes.
to everybody. And I'm so pleased that you're able to join us for today's session. My name is Wageshi Getata Kiriga, and I'm a senior advisor with Kijani Group. And I'm so excited to be hosting the second talk around the World Fair Trade Organization's discussion on sustainable consumption, but also on fair trade, fair treatment, fair price, and how we can all be in this journey of life together with this people centered focus on whatever it is that we're doing, especially in trade. So we have a very exciting lineup of speakers joining us today. Well, it's not really speakers as such. We're going to, have a good conversation together with people who are either just interested in this area of work, like Masimbonge is, and he is from South Africa. He's called Masimbonge Mvuma, and he's going to introduce himself and tell us a little bit more about why he has this passion for sustainable agriculture, like I do myself. So we'll wait, and he's going to tell us that. But we also have Musa Mpofu, who's here with us in the studio, and she's with the World Fair Trade Organization in South Africa, and she'll be telling us about why we're so excited about this whole pivot that WFTO has in really focusing on the local market, in buying local. So we'll talk about, we'll talk to Musa about that. And Musa is going to be with me for all the 6 sessions. So if I don't ask her too many questions, and Musa, if I don't ask you too many questions today, don't feel bad about it. It's because you and I are on this chat for a few more times, right?
No, I'm okay.
So, yes, and actually what I would really like to do before we even start to talk to Masimbonge right now is to just summarize a little bit about what we talked about on Wednesday. And there was something that you said that has really, really stuck with me. And that was, we should be our brother's keeper, right? And how can you express that in trade? How do you express that in the choices that you're making when you're making those purchasing decisions? You also reminded us, you have all these quotable quotes, Musa, I love it. You also reminded us that as consumers, we actually have a lot of power, right? Whatever it is that we decide to buy makes a difference. Because, all of these businesses are in the process of providing things we need, some that we don't need or we just want, right? And all of these are fueled by purchasing, isn't it? So you reminded us, you really truly reminded us that when we come together, we're able to do something powerful. And when we come together, we can push business in a certain direction by voting, as it were, with our pocketbooks and our wallets, right?
The money,
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So those were some of the conversations that we started to have on Wednesday. And those of you who are able to join us, thank you so much. We even had somebody joining us from Sweden. He joined us towards the end. That was Jasper Jones, and he's put out a little chat and told us that it's already getting cold in Sweden, and he was really interested and keen to hear how this fair trade market is going to be developing in the South, because it's been happening in the global North for some time, and he's one of those people who have been really big supporters of fair trade in Sweden. So, but sort of going back a little bit, stepping back a bit into this conversation that we were having, it's really about what is fair trade? What do we mean when we talk about fairness in trade, and why is it seen as an alternative way of doing business when we can actually push towards making it the way of doing business? And I really think that Masimbonge, maybe you can tell us a little bit now about what why you're passionate about sustainable agriculture and what it is in your mind when you talk about sustainable agriculture, because people have different definitions of some of these things. So Masimbonge, please introduce yourself to our audience today. Tell us a little bit about you, and also tell us why you're excited about sustainable agriculture.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Masimbonge. I'm from South Africa, as we all know. I am a farmer. I'm a young farmer, as
we can see.
as you can see, yes. So, but I studied mechanical engineering in school, but then it turned out that it's not something that I wanted to do for the rest of my life, and I was not really that passionate about it. But yeah, so the thing that made me interested in agriculture and to be more specific, sustainable agriculture, was that it was more of helping my friends getting jobs, because most of my friends were complaining when we were still in university about unemployment. They had completed their qualifications and so on. So they were complaining that they didn't have jobs. Jobs were scarce in South Africa. So I thought, no, man, why don't I go back home? Because back at home, there was a land that was not used. So I decided to go back home and start agriculture, so that I can hire them. So that was about it. Why I started farming, and what made me to decide to do to farm to farm organic farming was because I wanted to protect the environment. And make sure that the generations to come, they're able to use the same land that we are using. Sorry, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes, they're able to use the same land that we are using to farm. So that's just about it.
Okay, no, but that's really exciting. Look at that. You finished with your mechanical engineering, you went into agriculture, and you actually even created employment. Right?
Yes.
I mean, that's something that's very special. That's what we're all trying to push towards. And it's so exciting to see, young people who are excited about being in the agricultural space. Because if you look at our continent's average age, our Africa as a whole, our average age is only 19.7 years. So we're the world's youngest continent. And really and truly, it's really exciting to see that you are part of this group of people that is ready to reap that youth dividend. And what are you growing at your farm?
So we are doing mixed farming. We are doing both crop production and small livestock. So it's a mix. It's a mixed farming.
Yes. It's actually quite interesting how mixed farming is sometimes thought of as a more traditional way of farming, right?
Yes,
and because I've been interested in agriculture like yourself for some time, you're always coming across all these different studies. And right now there's a whole movement, especially in Europe and in North America, about what you are already practicing, which is what they're calling regenerative mixed-use agriculture, right? Where you have your livestock, you have your crops, but you no longer have monocrops. You're mixing it up. You're leaving the land to fallow. You're minimizing the amount of plowing that's taking place, especially mechanized plowing. So it's almost a little bit like, let's go back to our roots, because this is the thing that you mentioned that's going to keep this land sustainable and keep us as good stewards for future generations. So very exciting to have you on this morning, Masimbonge, and thank you for that. Darren, now, I'm going to ask you to introduce yourself in just a little bit and tell us a little bit more about Khapula and the products that you make and what they're made from and where you're selling them. So give us a little background about yourself and Khapula, please.
Thank you. Well, personally, I joined Kapula in 2013. So I'm, an employee rather than owner. But I think the more interesting story is Kapula itself. The original founder, Ilse Appelgrein, who's still active today, started. Originally, she was a teacher here in Bredasdorp. And which, by the way, we in the Southern Cape, very near the tip of the continent, very rural area, mainly farming, wheat and livestock, sheep and so on.
Okay.
And anyhow, in the early 90s, Ilse was retrenched from her teaching job, and she used to paint candles as a hobby. And with so much time on her hands, she became much more active with the candles. And where first it was giving them away to friends as a gift, slowly people started asking for her candles, and strangers saw them in others' homes and so forth and wanted to buy them. And so the business almost gave birth to itself in that way. She didn't start it with the idea to turn it into a business, and it took on a life of its own. And her husband saw a great opportunity, and he resigned from his former job to join, and they made it into a proper business. And originally they would buy candles from other manufacturers and paint Ilse's originals on them. That was at first the only product. But then there were, as the company grew, they had problems with quality and reliability of supply with the candles.
Right.
And realized they needed to start making candles themselves too. And they've always been very involved in the community and cared and wanted to create employment. So there was a conscious decision to always stick to not just hand-painted designs, but handmade candles rather than machines and so forth. And well, then by it just exploded. By the turn of the century, they were supplying UNICEF with hundreds of thousands of painted dinners per year.
Wonderful.
And large retail groups in America and then Europe. In 1999, we started supplying Woolworths, South Africa, with their core range of candles. And in 2004, we started making ceramic wares, also painted with our own designs. And that's grown magnificently. And as it stands today, Kapula employs 162 people.
That's amazing.
Which is, it's we hope it can continue to grow. Obviously, this year has been a little bit of a setback, but we're managing to survive and starting to see some positive things ahead. So so we are excited.
And Darren, do you have a Kapula candle or a ceramic something at home that you can show us?
I'm actually at the office right now,
so
I'm
good. Okay. So at some point,
I'll just grab something with the shelf.
You can grab one when we're talking to one of the other people and they're giving an answer. You come and make sure that we see the Kapula candle. That's really exciting, and especially when you think of how this whole thing started, right? That the fact that here was this founder who used her time and her talent and used an opportunity that was, it was literally life-changing because she was in this profession that she then moved out of. But can you imagine what she's been able to build over these years, and the change in the community? But not only that, all of these livelihoods that are being supported. It's quite exciting. A little bit like what you've done, Masimbonge. You took a situation and you're like, okay, this is not working for me, so let me redirect and do something. So it's really exciting to hear how people have rebuilt back better, right? Without having to just wallow in a situation, but looking at something and looking at something positively. And also, we're going to talk a little bit more about, this growth within the local market. In Kenya, we also have Woolworths. It hasn't been it was there a long time ago, and then it shut down, and then they brought it back in again in the 2000s. And so there's Woolworths, the South African brand that's here with Woolworth Home and other products. Although I hear that unfortunately they're going to be moving out of the Kenyan market, but we still have, Woolworths as a regional brand. Yeah, it's not just in Southern Africa, it's across both South, Central, and Eastern Africa. And there's the opportunity for Kapula to already, Kapula is already a global brand in and of itself, because it's being retailed in all of these different outlets. It'll be interesting to chat a little bit more about, what the local growth prospects continue to look like, and especially if that is something that will continue to grow, especially with the disruption that we all felt of global value chains when the COVID pandemic hit. So that now everybody is sort of like looking a little closer to home in terms of market, but also in terms of supply. So we'll talk a little bit about that in just a bit. But I'm really happy to see that Sammy from Kazuri Beads has joined us. Hi, Sammy. The phone has worked out much better. Please unmute yourself and tell us a little bit more about Kazuri Beads. We were talking about coming closer to home, and now we're closer to home because we've been talking to South African businesses and farmers, and now we're talking to a Kenyan business. So Sammy, tell us a little bit about Kazuri.
Hello guys, can you all hear me?
Yes, very clearly right now. It's very clear.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me. My name is Sammy, as Jessica just said. Yes, I am one of the managers here in Kazuri. I'm in charge of sales and marketing. Yeah, I joined Kazuri sometimes in 2004. Before I joined Kazuri, I worked for Deacons. Deacons had a franchise from South Africa called Woolworths. I spent 2 years in South Africa, secondment from Deacons when Woolworths was being introduced in Kenya. So I was one of the pioneers who actually assisted to bring Woolworths to Kenya. I've been there for nearly close to 30 years. Yeah. Kazuri, I don't know if I may take you through a bit of an history in regards to Kazuri. Yeah.
It has to be a very short one, Sammy, because I know Kazuri has a rich history. But yes, please do tell us.
Yes. Kazuri, of course, started sometimes in 1975 with two ladies. It was started by a lady by the name Lady Hood from England. Within a short while, she noticed there were so many ladies around here who actually were in great need of regular employment. So that is how Kazuri started. We obviously specialize in the making of products, beads, ceramic beads from raw clay, which is mined from Mount Kenya here in Kenya. Yeah, and we are members of Fair Trade.
So Sammy, I have some Kazuri beads here. I don't know if you can see them. You see? Kazuri is is globally known. In fact, even Meryl Streep, the Oscar-winning actress, has Kazuri beads, and she's been photographed with them several times. But what's really exciting is the fact that you have all these beautiful varieties and colors available, and you can even try your hand at it and buy some beads to try figure out your own jewelry at home. but there's also the fact that you have all these people who are employed there, mainly women, isn't it? So could you tell us about how many people that Kazuri currently employs?
Yes, Kazuri employs about around 340 women. Most of them actually are single mothers. That was before the COVID-19 pandemic. Since then, we had to close for a while, from March to sometimes in May, when we opened the skeleton staff. So we are now operating at around, a capacity of about 50 and servicing our national markets.
Yes. So now today's discussion was really around, what does it mean when you when we ask our consumers to buy local and support local businesses, because where you shop actually makes a big difference. We were talking about that with Musa at the start of this session, which was building up on what we had talked about on Wednesday, right? How can we use consumer power to continue to help us build local businesses, right? Provide opportunities like the ones that Kazuri and Kapula and even Masimbonge are providing in the spaces that they're currently in. And even as a business, when you look at the different markets, because of course the export market remains vital, right? It's vital not only to the business itself, but also to the nation as a whole, because of all of this foreign exchange that needs to come in. But what does it mean for the various businesses to grow the local market? And I know Sami Kazuri has been in the local market for some time, so I'll go back and start with you. Could you tell us a little bit about Kazuri's local market footprint and sort of what you guys are thinking of in terms of whether it's expansion or your product offering, or, unfortunately, the question could also be, is it something that's contracting right now? So could you tell us a little bit about the Kazuri experience with the domestic market? You're on mute, Sami. Please unmute yourself. Yes, there we go.
Hello, sorry. Yes, what I wanted to say is that when Kazuri started, the key market was actually export.
Yes.
Up to sometime in 2004, 2006, actually when we started going local, yeah.
Yes.
In a sort of a bigger way, yeah. So by then, our sales percentage export versus local, we had like 70% export, 30% local, and we obviously we had to turn around this. So we engaged in a very aggressive marketing move to try and enlighten the locals about our products.
Right.
Interestingly, we are more established outside Kenya than we are established, locally here. And that is the notion that you have been trying to change that narrative. That
right.
Our products are more for the export or for the tourist market than for the locals. Yeah. However, we managed to turn around that. Although our product is presumed to be an expensive product, we obviously have gone forward and tried to make products which are actually for the local market. So in a nutshell, we really moved and put our resources together to try and make products which actually are for the local market. However, in the local market, we actually we target the class A and B of the market. You will find that most of the the common managers, we normally say, assume or presume that the Kazuri product is too expensive for them, and that has been a problem. We have been trying to make products which actually are favorable for for the mass Kenyan market.
Yes, in fact, even my mug is from you guys. This is a Kazuri mug.
Yeah, that is very interesting. We also make pottery. That's very interesting.
Yeah.
I can see you have that mark.
It's a WFTO one, right? I don't know if you can see the design of the logo.
We are the ones who made those for WFTO. Yeah.
You did,
now,
yes.
I would like to I don't know whether you give me 2 or 3 minutes to talk briefly about the local market. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. As long as you talk about WFTO too. Go for it.
Yeah. Interestingly, WFTO has been there, and we as members have been trying to push WFTO, of course, to try and give value to their membership in terms of market access. Yeah. We can talk of all the good things, no child labor, no what, but at the end of the day, if the market is not there, I think it becomes very, very, very challenging. And the value addition from WTO might not necessarily be seen to be there locally. Yeah. And there have been challenges, especially here in Kazuri. My management here has been asking me, what value are we getting from WFTO? And I think that's a challenge which really needs to be taken up by the WFTO, because we as members, severally we could expect, we as stakeholders, at least there could be some, we could have meetings to discuss, the challenges we are facing. We look at, the market going forward, look at, there could be exhibitions, WFTO exhibitions and all that. Basically, I'm talking about market access, which I think is the bottom line as far as we, the producers, are concerned.
Absolutely. And I'm sure Musa is going to talk a little bit about that. So
can I jump in?
Yes, absolutely. Please do.
I think that's why we're having this sort of platform where we're trying essentially to conscientize the clients, the customers on WFTO ethos, to let them know what fair trade is about, to start to educate them and to sensitize them on fair trade. Because as it stands right now in the domestic South, fair trade is not really known. And so we need to start somewhere. We need to begin the conversation somewhere. And this is why we're using a platform such as this, among many, to try and develop the knowledge, or to conscientize, to sensitize, to start the journey of explaining what is fair trade. When you see the logo on your cup, what does that mean? When someone says they choose fair trade, what are they choosing? Because I mean, we could run the slogan forever, but if people don't understand what they're saying by saying, I choose fair trade, what are you choosing? You need to begin to talk about it. I'm choosing to have sustainable methods. I'm choosing to support an organization that is accountable, an organization that is transparent. I'm choosing to support an organization that does not use forced labor or child labor. I mean, all the 10 principles, again, like I talked about on Wednesday. So knowing that by choosing fair trade, I'm choosing an organization that aligns to these 10 things, then we're getting somewhere. So that's the challenge we have in South Africa, in Africa, in the global South right now, that we need to educate the consumer so that when they start to see the logo, when they start to hear the tags, I choose fair trade, they know what that is about. So we understand very much that for the producers right now, it may feel like, because there's strong understanding of fair trade in the global north, that's the focus. That's who will predominantly buy fair trade products. But we need to start somewhere. We need to get the conversation going somewhere. We need to get the global South talking, knowing, understanding what fair trade is, and then we will be stepping closer to creating the fair trade market in the global South.
Absolutely. And I'm here looking at some of these comments. There's someone called Trading for Development who says, we love Kazuri jewelry, fair trade craftsmanship. So we can see that people are excited about the fact that we have these amazing products that are available, but it's not just there for the beauty of it, but it's also there because of what it is that it stands for, and the fact that that we are trying to continue to build this sensitivity and awareness of what it means for Kapula, for what it means for Kazuri, or for what it means for Machakos Cooperative Union, to stand and say, listen, we are part and parcel of this fair trade movement. And what that actually means is that, yes, we're not only following these 10 principles, but we're really being very conscious of how it is that we are producing these things, how it is that we are impacting the environment, how it is that we're impacting the people who are in these supply chains that we're operating in. And you know, it's those 10 principles that you were mentioning, Musa, and that also Sami alluded to, and Darren mentioned when he talked about the fact that community is something that's so important. You know, we have Marian Duta telling us that this is quite inspiring. Thank you for tuning in. Anwar Boy has shouted out to Masimbonge and said agribusiness will create employment and feed Africa. This is great to see a young person doing his part to provide solutions on the continent. So thank you so much for tuning in, for giving us these for giving us these comments, and you know, they're very encouraging. And even before we sort of go on to the next, you know, if you notice on our ticker, there's a little bit more information about WFTO, their website there, and I'm sure we're going to be listing where you can find these amazing Kapula products online. And let's now talk about you know, how you are moving into e-commerce. Darren, I'm going to put you on the spot first and ask you about how much delivery have you guys been doing, especially when everybody's been at home?
Well, we are quieter than pre-pandemic.
Okay.
It is improving and rebuilding.
Mm-hmm.
Kapula's been around for a while, and so we're a relatively well-established business, and we've got three main markets, being export to mainly the States and Europe, and then we've got South African corporate clients, and then we also have the tourist market, mainly in South Africa, which naturally, with travelers not being allowed in until recently, has been extremely quiet. And then we also had pre-pandemic about 400 small independent retailer clients on our books. So we have a very relatively diverse. If one market takes a dip, at least there are two other pillars, so to speak, to rely on.
Absolutely.
And we are also in these times bringing even more focus to increasing brand awareness and telling our story.
Right.
Not only our product. We always strive to make top quality products and offer a large, diverse range to try and suit or tap into all possible markets. So, you know, that's why we have plain frost candles, which are more affordable, and they burn for long and smell great and don't drip. And naturally, they're more affordable because they don't have the painted features. But then the more premium painted stuff, for example, in the domestic market, our international tourists to South Africa, they love, you know, this sort of design is one of our perennial favorites. It's very colorful and a little bit ethnic. There's some leopard spots, or often zebra stripes, things like that, or you know, rhinos and so on. But then for more your South African client, we try to do pretty and call it more contemporary things. So you can appeal to more than one market in that sense. And yeah, along with that, via Facebook, Instagram, and we plan to ramp it up a great deal in going forward, is showing even more of our people and their stories or them at work. You know, I think Kapula is really a special place to work. Most of our workers are happy and we kind of see each other as family. I mean, the manager of our ceramics production, Gina, was the first person Ilse ever hired 26 years ago. She still works for us.
Wow. That says a lot.
Of our hand-painted candles, Ronnie was one of Ilse's students when she was still a teacher.
Wow.
And she's been working here since she was, I think, 18.
That's,
for
talk
about
about
20
history.
years.
Yes. That's amazing.
Yeah, it's incredible.
Yeah.
You know, the vast majority of our staff have worked here for 10 years or more.
And I think that's going to be exciting, that's something that you want to start highlighting. I know that as part of the fair trade movement, WFTO had partnered with different parts of the fair trade movement globally. Although, to be honest, the push was very Eurocentric. But it was something that they had partnered with different brands across the world. And one of the big campaigns that they did was done by Fashion Revolution. So you had all these different retailers that came together, all these different fair trade actors that came together under the umbrella of Fashion Revolution. And one of the things that they had a campaign called "Who Made My Clothes," right? And we had some Kenyan brands that were involved in Who Made My Clothes. So it's a little bit like what you're saying, you know, who made my ceramics, who made my candles? And you have the stories of the people who are working so hard and so diligently behind the scenes. But you also have this constant thread of companies that are actually meaningful places to work. And you know, kudos to Kapula, because that type of longevity doesn't happen when people feel that their needs are not being considered. It doesn't happen if they aren't receiving fair treatment. It doesn't happen if they aren't receiving, you know, fair wages and they have, you know, good working conditions. So that's amazing. It's really good to see and hear these fair trade principles lived out. So it's fantastic, and I'm sure that's the same thing that you would tell us about Kazuri. But what I'm going to ask you, Sammy, is going to be slightly different. I want to know about what Kazuri is thinking when it comes to the fact that you know, January is around the corner. We are all excited about this Africa Continental Free Trade Area. Is Kazuri looking at the rest of the continent as a place where they can be selling their iconic beads? So over to you, Sammy. Tell us about whether there's going to be Kazuri across the continent.
Yes, very interesting question. Yes, our business strategy actually lately has been that we want to go more franchise than being also involved in the retail. Yeah. So what we are doing, and what we've already started doing, like here in Kenya, we have already started publishing franchise outlets. Basically, they are going to like the way Bata works. We are going to have Kazuri shops, but they will not actually, in a nutshell, be owned by Kazuri. So we are doing that. With the rest of the African countries, we already have started with Tanzania. There is a franchise shop in Tanzania.
Good.
Yeah, we are also looking at moving to Rwanda. We are also looking at going to Seychelles, Mauritius, and basically most of the West African countries. We are already in discussion with quite a number of interested parties. So within a very near future, we are going to have Kazuri across this region of Africa. Because outside, we operate a network of distributors who actually buy our products and basically sell out there. So internationally, we're taken care of. However, we are still looking for distributors in some parts of the world, like in America. The person who was there actually ceased to be our distributor. So going forward, like if come January, we are now preparing to make a lot of stuff, which after the discussions we are having with these interested parties in these other countries, we are straight away going to move into franchise, even locally.
That's fantastic. That is great news to hear. And and sort of thinking, I know our discussion, Musa, is supposed to be about the local market, but we're living in a very interconnected world. And so my question is back to Masimbonge about how can we get more young people like yourself interested in this space around sustainability? How are we producing sustainably? How can we look at agriculture not as this thing where when I was growing up, I'm in my 40s now. When I was growing up, it was always go to school, do well, so that you don't come back to the farm, right? But you went to school, you did great, you're a mechanical engineer, but where you have found your outlet is back at the farm. So how do we get more young people to look at agriculture as something that is exciting, something that is viable, something that is part of the solution? Tell us a little bit more about that.
Thank you for your question. What I can say is that I think here in South Africa, there's been this trend of young farmers or young people who are involved in agriculture. And also to add on that, if you look at the stats that were released by Stats SA, agriculture is the only industry that has performed well as compared to other industries. So young people can see that the problem we have, which is the unemployment problem, agriculture can assist on that and a lot. Also, young people are more they like social media. So I think us as young farmers who are on the space, if we put ourselves out there and say to them, no, guys, we are doing this, and this is fun. This can help a lot. So I think that can motivate them a lot to come back.
But also, I think that as you talk about that and telling them to come back onto the farm, I think you should also continue to have this conversation that we're having today, which is choose what you're buying with the beginning in mind, right?
Yes.
So that you can ask the question, where has this product come from? Is this something that is locally grown? Is it something that has been organically farmed? Is this something that has provided jobs within the local community? Because this sustainability mindset goes even beyond what is produced in agriculture. We are into spaces like ceramics and candle making. We're into we're into all these different areas where companies are being asked to be accountable for the people who are working for them, but also to be accountable to the environment, right? And to sort of keep that in mind with the choices that we're making. And so I would encourage you, Masimbonge, to continue having this conversation with your peers. And I hope that a lot more come on board to continue with that. And I see that Jacinta has managed to join us. I'm sorry, we were having some technical difficulties. Jacinta Duko is from Machakos Cooperative Union, which is here in Kenya. Machakos is just maybe 45 minutes outside of Nairobi, and even closer if you're coming from our main international airport in Nairobi. So it's not too far out. Jacinta and I have had the pleasure of working together in the past. And in fact, I have to show you this. I bought this basket from her. Do you see my yellow basket? It's a sisal basket. Yeah, it's a very vibrant yellow. I think my camera is not doing it justice. But Machakos is fair trade certified for their crafts. They've got beautiful baskets. It's also an area that is traditionally known for woodwork and for baskets. But they're also fair trade certified for their coffee. So Jacinta, karibu sana. Please tell us a little bit about MCU as we call it, and just very briefly, because we're almost out of time, but then also tell us a lot actually, about how you intend to grow sales for Machakos Union products here at home, locally. Go, tell us. And I think you're still on mute. So please unmute yourself and tell us about the coffee and the crafts.
Yes, thank you so much, Wangeshi. It's nice to meet you after a long time. And I have a problem in connection. Our internet here is quite very low, so I'm not in a position to hear all of you very, very well. But we'll talk about our handicrafts. Yes, this is Machakos Cooperative Union from Machakos, and it's an affiliate union. We have 34 affiliate cooperative societies that are affiliated with us, and we also have 26 women group that do the baskets that Wangeshi bought sometimes back. Now, at the moment, we are I'm working with coffee farmers, and we have been milling coffee. We lately we have a mill. It's called Lecom Coffee Mill, and we are roasting coffee and trying to see whether farmers can produce coffee and drink coffee at the same time. So
Absolutely.
we have new packaging courtesy of WFTO and Fair Trade, because we are Fair Trade certified, and we will start a campaign whereby we want our farmers and people in Machakos and our environment to start using and drinking coffee, because most of us produce coffee and drink tea. So we are in the process, and we are happy that we have very nice packaging. They are very, very beautiful, and we are in the process.
Can you show us?
Yes, I don't know whether you can see them.
Oh yeah.
You can see.
Yes.
Yeah, this is medium roast.
Okay.
We have low roast, and then we have high roasts.
Okay.
So it depends on whether you want your coffee dark or very low. Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, congratulations on that new packaging, and I'm hoping that we'll be able to find it in. First of all, are you guys going online? Is there going to be a Machakos Union shop online when we go to mculimited.co.ke? Is there going to be a shop there? Can we order from you online?
Yes, of course. We are working on that. We also want to get a marketing license, because we do not have one, so we can be able to sell the coffee in supermarkets and merchandises. Yes, but meanwhile, we have farmers who really are buying from us directly. Yeah,
that's very, very exciting, and it's great to see that. And you know, I'm looking at some of these comments that we're seeing over here. In fact, Marian has commented here and said, great to hear from real people that we can relate with, have worked with Machakos Cooperative Union in promoting adoption of fair trade practices. And I also have great pieces from Kazuri Beads as well. Frederick Masinde is saying, nice to hear from some of our strong fair trade brands in Africa, Kapula Candles and Kazuri. These should actually be our domestic market brand ambassadors. Great work. Trading for Development, yes, this is a recorded session, don't worry. Ariane Cabano is is mentioning that the relationship between domestic producers and consumers still has a long way to go, but I'm glad that these conversations are taking place. Positive change is on the way. And Frederick Masinde has said that the coffee packs are great to MCU. So thank you. This has been really exciting to see all of this that's happening. I'm going to put out a challenge to all the people who are listening to this recording. Jacinta, if you can give 1 pack of coffee, of your new coffee, to our watchers and our listeners. That would be fantastic. But the challenge is this, right? There's that somebody has to post and tag us on any of the social media posts, whether it's Facebook or Twitter or Instagram. You have to tag, you have to tag this conversation of hashtag I choose fair trade with yourself and a fair trade product. You can, but now here's the catch. You have to find the one that has a fair trade sign on it. So if you're in if you're doing Kazuri and you have the Kazuri beads, you have to make sure that you take a picture next to the Kazuri shop that has the World Fair Trade Organization sign on it. If you've bought some Kitengela glasses, you have to go to Kitengela and make sure you have the sticker. If you have Kapula candles, I don't know if Kapula puts a sticker on their candles or if it's in one of the outlets, we want to see. Okay, so that's the challenge. And it can be the World Fair Trade Organization symbol, which is this one. Yeah, you see that one? Or it can even be this one.
Okay, Wangeshi, we can't hear you anymore. Wangeshi, we can't hear you. No, we can't.
Now you can, right?
Yeah,
Perfect. Yeah. No, now we can't hear you anymore.
Okay, so we're having a photo challenge.
Yes, we can.
To everybody who is listening. And the challenge is, the challenge winner is going to get 1 pack of MCU newly redesigned coffee. And that doesn't matter where you are in the world. We'll figure out how to get it to you. And that's for you, Musa and Jacinta, to figure that out. But please take a picture with yourself and a fair trade product and tag this conversation. Hashtag I choose fair trade. Okay. And don't forget to tag WFTO, and this can be on any of the WFTO media platforms, whether it's Facebook or Instagram or Twitter. Tag us, show us that, and the one who has let's see, shall we do it with the most number of fair trade products is the one who's the winner, or something like that. So please go ahead, interact, tag us, post, and show us how you're supporting fair trade by using that purchasing power that we were talking about, by making sure, as Musa has challenged us to do, that we are being our brother's keeper, by choosing fair, whether it comes to whether it's in the fair pricing or whether it's in the treatment, but making sure that we're keeping in mind all the people who are involved in producing these amazing things that we're enjoying. And that we're also being responsible consumers. So I see that we have only 6 minutes to go to noon, and then our little session is going to be over. But just to let you know that we are going to be back on Monday at 11 o'clock East African time. Please log in again. But meanwhile, please go ahead and tag us on our comments. Most importantly, spend that power and make sure that you're choosing fair when you're out there getting the things that you need, even your everyday stuff like your tea and your coffee, your rooibos tea, or even that chocolate that you're taking as a treat, or that candle that you're giving as a gift. Choose fair and know that when you're making that choice, that you're making a difference, and you're truly making a difference. And it's not something that's just about a hashtag or publicity. So as we wrap up, I'm going to ask all my guests to give me one parting shot, and I'm going to start with you, my young farmer. Please tell us. Give us your parting shot.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, no, I would like to say to all the young people who are interested in farming to go for it and not undermine themselves. Farming is not for old people. They can
Absolutely.
do it.
Thank you, Masimbonge, and keep doing what you're doing. I mean, I am so excited that you're creating employment, that you're creating this excitement in the agri space, but not just in any shape or form, but in a really sustainable and conscious manner. And you're certainly part of all of those who are building back better. And congratulations for that. Jacinta, thank you for the
Thank you
coffee.
very
I know I
much.
put you on the spot, but what's your parting shot to us this afternoon, or well, just before the afternoon? Yes, we can see you. We can hear you and we can see you.
Okay, thank you. My parting shot is let's all choose fair trade because we have a lot to offer, and that let's take coffee.
That's great. But if it's coffee, make it fair trade, and if it's tea, make it fair trade too. Darren, what are you going to tell us as your parting shot?
I would just like to say thank you for inviting us to be part of this today, and to Jacinta and Masimbonge, thank you and best of luck going forward. You are really inspirational. I'm proud to be on something like this with people like you. So good luck.
Thank you, Darren. And Musa, I'm gonna take up your parting shot time and ask for our video to be played, especially because Sammy is not there. Although I can see, oh, good, Sammy, you made it back. All right, Sammy, give us your parting shot before we play the video that actually involves Kazuri. Go ahead.
Right. Thank you very much, Wangeshi, for having me. I think my parting shot is that we as members of WFTO in Africa, we need a bit more from our WFTO office in terms of market access to ensure that at least our products are known locally. Because if you go to the streets like now today, if you walk around Nairobi and ask anyone whether they know anything to do with WFTO, well, you might get like less than 10% of everyone knows about WTO. So I think the WTO Africa has got quite a bit of job to do to ensure that at least we are well established locally. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Sammy. But just to remind everybody that although we're sort of seeing the back end of how well known fair trade is on the global stage, that this was something that was started, over 30 years ago, right? And so it's taken that time. So we're looking at it from 20 years in. We don't know what it looked like in the beginning of that. So as you mentioned, Sammy, there's quite a road ahead, and that's for sure. But what is exciting is that we're beginning with those steps. As they say, every single journey begins with a single step. And so this is our first step as WFTO and as members of the fair trade movement, of which all of us are part of. And it's exciting. It's a really exciting time. So Musa, you and I, we're on Monday, 11 o'clock, and looking forward to having you back. And let's have that video played. And remember, everybody, don't forget to choose fair and look out for fair trade.
Thanks. Bye.
Thank you.
My name is Wycliffe. My name is Wycliffe Mutuku.
Shadrack Alzeki.
My name is Josephat Ngenja.
John Mutua.
Jacinta Nduku. Kwa majina naitwa Hana Mwaka.
Josephat Zeki.
Monica Mudeu.
My name is Ruth and I choose fair trade.
I've choose fair trade.
I 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 choose fair trade.
Thank you so much to all our wonderful guests today. I wish you a great weekend. Our sunny weather is finally back. I hope you all get a chance to enjoy the outside. Thank you, Darren and Kapula, for all that you do and for just spending time with us this morning. Thank you, Sammy and Kazuri. We continue to enjoy the beads and just knowing that all of this is happening in our community and all these women are being given decent work and great opportunities for growth. Jacinta and MCU, Asante Sana, thank you for the coffee. We're excited about this new packaging and we look forward to tasting that Machakos coffee, but also being able to see it on supermarket shelves everywhere. I think Masimbonge has dropped off, but Musa, please do thank him for us. For spending the time, but also for just being that inspiring young voice when it comes to sustainable and organic agriculture. I think it's amazing that he's in a position where he's become an employer. He's part and parcel of the solution that we're all looking for, even as we talk about the youth dividend. So thank you for being out there, Masimbonge, and for all it is that you're doing. And my dear Musa, you and I, we're on. Back again on Monday. Thank you, everybody, and have a great weekend.
Cheers. Bye. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Bye-bye.